All right, Lambo is stripped and ready to wrap. No, it looks like a lot. Yesterday when I started, seemed like a lot, but just like anything else in life, one step at a time, one bolt at a time, one panel at a time, one car at a time, and now it's done. I'm gonna do a walk around. I don't have time to like make a video on how to take every single thing off. It would take me like 3 times as long. But I'm just gonna do a quick walk around on why I took some things off, how I took some things off, and some other little weird things about the car. I'll do a quick walk around and show everything off before I get into all the nerdy details on why I did certain things and how I did certain things. Just if everybody doesn't want to stick around for all the nerdy stuff. Didn't lose one bolt or break one clip. All right, now for some of the nerdy stuff. So the reason I took most of this stuff off was I know the car is going to get a lot of attention, being a Lamborghini and being my personal car. So I wanted to make sure the wrap was perfect, and also because it's yellow. So bright colored car, sometimes you got to take a lot of stuff off, or you're just going to see some little traces of that yellow, where if it was like a black car, dark gray car, you're not going to see that stuff. It's also why these yellow and white cars and stuff cost a little bit more money to wrap. If this was a customer's car, and even if it was yellow and they said they didn't want to take some stuff off, we wouldn't take it off. But I'd have to let them know, like, hey, the wrap might not be just that little bit extra. So bumpers usually have to come off anyway, just to get everything right. And usually you got to take some stuff off the inside to get to certain places and stuff like that. You got to get behind it. Bumper is pretty easy to come off. Take the tub out. All those screws were pretty much exposed. Then there were bolts along the top of the bumper, bolts in the wheel well, and on the corners, and then a whole bunch of bolts on the bottom. There was that liner that had a bunch of bolts, and then the only ones that were kind of hidden, one going into this and one going into this, because there's still a lot of bolts underneath that don't have to come off, that hold all that stuff, all the arrow on, and those two are kind of hidden in there. All right, now to get the fenders off. The reason I took the fenders off was because, again, yellow car, and most doors, they just go back behind. They don't go back that way and then back behind the fender this way. So if you looked in here, this is kind of covered, and it would be really hard to get like a clean cut. And you might see a little bit of yellow. Most people never even notice, but like I said, the car is going to get a lot of attention, and all I need is somebody going in there and being like, oh, look, I can see a little bit of yellow. So my OCD decided to take it off. Now, just because of this, I had to take the fender off. But to get the fender off, the side skirt needs to come off. Before the side skirt comes off, you got to take this little piece off. That wasn't too bad. 110 mil up here, and then some clips. That lets you get to the side skirt bolt that's in there. There's 3 bolts in the side skirt behind that Huracan thing. Another one up there. One hidden back in here. Whole bunch of exposed ones on the bottom, and one more hidden one back in here. And then once you get that off, all just to get to these 2 screws that hold the fender on. Rest of the fender ones are pretty easy. Here, like I said, you got to take that liner out. Take that liner out first. I didn't have to take the wheel off. I did have to put the lift up and put it on the quick jacks, but the wheel's sagging enough, and there's a ton of bolts that hold that liner on. Take that out first. It will make your life way easier to get to all this stuff if you do it in the beginning, even before you take the bumper off and everything. And then there was just a couple here and a couple on top. Fenders are super small, super light, probably pretty fragile, probably pretty easy to bend. And those are those little other door jamb things. All right, and I'd take the mirror off, because if not, it's on the door, not on the glass. Some people have their mirror up here, and they don't have to take it off. On the door, you're either going to get ugly stretch marks, and you're going to have a seam right here. But to get that off, something simple, involved a whole lot. Door panel has to come off, speaker, glass, and there's everything right there. You even have to take this little connector apart a little bit. I'll show you up on the thing. Door panel, have to pop this off, and this little thing back here, that's on the table. I'll show you that too. And then there's 4 bolts, and then a bunch of clips, and you can pop this off. Wing was probably the easiest thing to take off on the whole car. This little air thing is exposed, came off pretty easy. And then a couple bolts in here and some bolts down in here. Like I said, there's the wing, there's the other part. So yeah, you gotta take this little thing apart. That's how in depth you gotta go with some of this stuff, just to get that mirror out. But you gotta take this off because it doesn't fit through any of the holes. And another look at all these bolts. Here's the clips. So these things are in there pretty tight. But this is probably like the biggest thing I was afraid of breaking. But got all that stuff out without breaking it. All right, yeah. Like I said, if you guys got any more detailed questions, just hit me up on Instagram. Super extra nerdy stuff, if you guys are still sticking around. The active aero on this car is pretty cool. So it's lightweight carbon fiber, the forged carbon fiber. It's not heavy, slow hydraulics. So for the back part of it, and this is on the front of the car too, but air comes in here and then goes into these little ducts, those electric flaps that can open and close instantaneously. And it can also do left or right, where hydraulics, active air, just got to go up and down. So if they're closed, air goes over the wing, downforce, just like normal. But if you want top speed, you don't want the drag, they open up, the air goes in to the wing and comes out the bottom and neutralizes all that downforce. And then, like I said, it can work one side or the other. If you're on a high-speed turn, you want more downforce on one side of the car. So there's some extra nerdy stuff for you if you stuck around. Thanks.